And welcome back to Bros in a Landfill, the only podcast that won't get canceled for saying a few slurs just because no one else watches this. Your hosts for this week are Dizzy.
The best defense is simply no one knowing that you're even on the battlefield at all.
And I'm Trybien, and this week we're going to talk about, RPG Maker games. I think people like hearing us talk about it. That means Dizzy can record some RPG Maker game stuff for this. Anyways, I am only bringing this up because I just saw there
I
was...
just want to say that the reason why the demo is taking so long is because a bunch of us get really busy, and also because
it's all my fault.
Our file sharing software just decided to stop working for some members of the project, so we've had a bit of a mess.
And I've been... Well, it's me, because Dizzy asked me for help like a month ago, and I haven't helped him yet.
You don't have to tell them the specifics.
I am taking responsibility, okay?
But you don't need to. There's taking responsibility, and then there's throwing yourself under the bus that isn't even on. You just took a brick to the gas pedal and then tied yourself to the train tracks.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Dizzy. So there's...
My father sucks, fight me, Tar.
Oh no, Tar's here. Hello there, I'm Tar. Can you guys shut the fuck up and get on with the show? There was an announcement trailer for To the Moon 3, which I actually haven't watched yet, but it kind of spurred on this fucking conversation. So I was gonna sell Dizzy on the To the Moon series, which is To the Moon and Finding Paradise.
Are we gonna sing the song
might talk
Fly
about
Me to the Moon?
Yeah, it doesn't have there's no Fly Me to the Moon in the game.
I would sing it, but I have the worst voice ever.
I don't need Bayonetta coming in here and crashing the party.
That was from Bayonetta?
Oh no, Fly Me to the Moon was in Bayonetta, but it's not from Bayonetta. There's a remix of it in Bayonetta that plays when you go into your special power time, whatever.
Look, I don't know albums. I just know a lot of random nebulous songs. I don't know bands. I don't know albums. I don't know where music comes from.
And that's why you don't get JoJo.
That is absolutely true. But you know what? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure had Mickey Mouse in it, and Shin Megami Tensei 1 didn't. So one of those clearly is doing something.
Dizzy, no, this is not Jack Frostmans is not here yet. Dizzy, no SMT talk from you, boy.
Okay, fine. Fly me to the moon. Sell me.
Anyway, so Dizzy informed me that he watched Markiplier play years ago. I've played through To the Moon twice, and I think it was either last year or the year before. I played Finding Paradise with my wife, and I just thought it'd be fun to talk about them and maybe any RPG Maker games that Dizzy can think of because he's played some.
I played Eve and Grey Fox and
the Bros RPG that hasn't been released yet.
What? What Bros RPG? No, the Bros RPG that hasn't been released yet is still under development. I don't want to name drop it, but it's not an RPG Maker game.
Oh, okay.
I did a live stream of an RPG Maker game. That game was interesting. I also played Indivisible, but that's not an RPG Maker game.
Okay, we get the point. We get. Anyways,
that's your cue to interrupt me.
Yeah. I know. So To the Moon, both of the games in the series, the vague premise is you have this organization of doctors who are hired by the families of dying people, so that or at least just a dying person, so that on their deathbed, they use this scientific device to hop in their head and grant one wish that they could experience before their death. And this usually involves them going throughout their history, learning their past and whatnot, and making slight changes in their memory so that the events of their lives in their mind plays out differently so that they can achieve that one wish they never had.
It kind of reminds me of another story, but I don't remember which one it was. But it was the part where you said, making slight changes in their... Wait, I think it was called, there was another game where you did that, but it was... Never mind, actually. I don't remember enough. Someone went into my memory and screwed up my memories of it, so I don't remember it anymore.
Anyways, what generally speaking, they're like they're incredibly story driven. Very like most of the time you're walking through areas and just finding what you need to find. Occasionally you'll have like puzzles to solve, but like the main point of the games are mainly their stories and their characters. The first game that's about this guy who wants to who wishes to go to the moon. That's what's called To the Moon. So you go through his life so that he becomes an astronaut and goes up to the moon. The second game, the premise of the second game actually is rather interesting. It's he doesn't want you to change anything, and it doesn't make much sense until the very end. But like he specifically had no wish. He just wanted you to go in there.
So you're like
And
messing around with his memories, but then you find out that he didn't want you to mess with any of
well,
them.
it was I can't really go too much into spoilers, but it's more he was the type of person who never really could explain himself very well. So he wanted people to go in and see what he experienced so that you could communicate that with his family.
Oh, that sounds alarmingly close to someone I know.
So so both games deal with like both games deal with the different ways that these people have perceived their lives. And and it generally uses a thing like so I'll say for example with something like the Sawman Files, which I played earlier this year. One
Mm-hmm.
of the things I really appreciate about it because the the director, like the writer, like he Ujikoshi, there's his name. He's a very methodical writer, and if he's in, like so every time you go into the dreams, like well by involving you going to people's dreams, he's included all like these different psychological conditions that can affect the dreams you're in. So you're utilizing the premise to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
The To the Moon does similar sort of tricks where like it's not like you're just going into this one normal person who has this like who is completely perfect and you're going into their brain. It's like there's something that's affecting them psychologically and uh or affecting them or their memories,
Mm-hmm.
and uh that makes things more difficult going through process. It's not just as easy, oh, find the right point and fix things. It's a lot more complicated than it was supposed to be. And it plays into their histories and the twists and turns that you learn of the person's life and the things you didn't expect them to have gone through on first glance. It's it's really an experiment in viewing the entirety of a single person's life and all of their experiences.
There's always lots of people that most of which unfortunately some people just you'll never know, and there's a lot of this is again like this is this can go into a lot of places I don't necessarily want it to, and I'm like I think I don't want to take it there. But yeah, life is scary, and death is something I've had on my mind a lot lately, and I'm very afraid of.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
stop talking about this right now. Actually,
yeah, yeah. Not this isn't a bros talk. This is a
no, I'm
bros in
sorry.
a landfill.
It's
The
just
less
home
interesting
stuff.
show with goofs and gaffs.
I,
Mwahaha, goof gaff.
no, I'm sorry.
So
I'm just
yeah, no, it's
weird on
cool.
the
Yeah, no,
subject.
it's fine. Anyways, with to the I mean with I will say one of the things I like about To the Moon series is that the writing gets better between the two games. Like To the Moon, despite like still being like really good and really like emotionally resonant, it is not as I would say it's not written as tightly as the second game. Like re- re- fuck. Relies a little
Oh,
bit. Relies on certain tropes or twists that aren't incredibly fresh or new. Where like it's I guess it does have a bit of like paint by numbers or um not it's not as original in the certain aspects of the twists, and where I found to Finding Paradise affected me personally quite a bit. The twist near the end, um, was one where like I just felt Finding Paradise was an incredibly powerful game, and it meant a lot to me. It's still I actually still sometimes get choked up thinking about it. Like that, like if I'm in the right mood and I think about the twist at the end of Finding Paradise, like I will get like emotional.
Yeah, the best games are the ones that really leave an impression.
Yeah,
Well, I guess it depends on the impression.
yeah. Oh,
Cut
I mean,
to
there's sort of
unrelated picture of a non-specific game just fading in over from the left and slide out.
I certainly never saw that coming. Anyways, I know you watched Markiplier played a bit. Was there anything that stuck out to you that like you could ask me about the game or like I could try to sell you on?
Well, I feel like I would be interested in checking it out. So I guess not, because I forgot most of it. So I'm kind of like, well, gee, if I do play it again, then I don't want to be spoiled on a bunch of stuff. The only thing I
Yeah.
remember is like the end. So it's like, you
Yeah,
know,
I would say that like they're To the Men of Fine Paradise are very much games that like while I could see are fun to watch, they're because of just how incredibly emotionally like resonant they are. Like I would definitely say that it's the type of game that you would get the most out of playing rather than watching.
well, most games are honestly. There was a lot
Yeah.
of games I remember that I'd watch people play, and I thought they'd be like stupid or something. And then like there's a very different experience from playing a game you've only watched and watching a game you've only played.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of amazing where like you see someone play a game, you play it yourself, and you think, hey, that that left me with a lot different than I thought it would. Or then you'll
Actually,
play a
you
game and then
know,
you'll watch someone stream and you'll be like, hey, that was it's interesting to see how other
you know
people
what,
felt about this.
you know what, Dizzy? Pending I ever get time to do so, which I'm hoping to sometime this year. I
It's
would
this year.
absolutely
You mean next year? I would assume, considering there's
yeah
only
next year.
1 month
Yeah,
left here.
well yeah whatever. Yeah, like sometime next year. Like I don't know exactly when it end up being. Like
Hmm.
if I do get time, but I'm planning on having more free time, personal reasons. But
Yep.
I would absolutely do a let's play with you of To the Moon and Finding Paradise.
Would you do a let's play with me of Persona 5 the Royal?
Fuck no. You and also bad Dizzy. Like I don't even want to look at that game until it's $15 on PlayStation like on sale. Like
uh,
the only
okay,
reason
okay.
I
I'm
would
sorry. I'm
buy
sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Let's
no
get back.
the only reason why I would buy Royal for more than $15 is if it came out on Switch and it
It
was
is
on
coming
sale
out on
for like
Switch.
30.
A friend
What?
of mine said that he was gonna pick it. He was gonna pick up Persona 5 on Switch because he didn't know that it was coming out on PlayStation. Like I told him it was coming out
Uh,
on PS4, and he's like, "Really? I thought it was a Switch exclusive." And I'm like, "I hope not, because
no, he's probably mixing up Persona 5 Scramble, the Muso game coming out for Switch, which I am unironically more excited for than Persona 5 Royal because at least with Scramble it's an entirely new game and I'm not
all right,
like
let's
replaying.
go. Our
Yeah,
one audience
yeah.
member is running away,
Okay,
screaming.
sorry. Yeah.
We're
Oops.
done. Come back,
Major,
please.
major oof.
Come back.
So
Okay, so RPG Maker games. I have so many RPG Maker systems, and I'm working on so many games because I like making stuff. Making an RPG Maker game is really hard, honestly. Whenever I think about RPG Maker games, though, this is probably just because of me and because I watch a lot of YouTube. But I think about I've mentioned this many times on cast, but I've never like really gone into them of Aoni fan games. Do you know about
ah,
Aoni?
and I've only seen the Aoni shorts, like the anime shorts that were like gag
Uh,
comedy things,
Aoni is so
which was like
sorry. You keep going.
yeah no no they were just like did you ever see those like stupid anime Aoni like shorts
I
like
yeah, they're
I've
like
seen a few of them.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like I watched a few of them, but the charm wore off as time went on.
I feel
But
like I see this a lot actually, where like shows will have like the chibi spin-off show that follows like one of the side characters specifically as they like go through goofy adventures. Like there was Chibi Ruby and there was Chibi Naruto or Naruto SD I think is what they called it. And then Aoni is like that. It's
yeah,
like the chibi versions of the characters doing goofy things.
hmm
And they're
I
sorry.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't particularly get it, but it's a thing, I guess.
They're fun for a while, but to me, the charm always wears off pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like it's like, oh, I see the first like few episodes of whatever chibi thing, and it's like it's just, why are you keeping up? Like
Well,
it's like if you
sorry.
were like it's like you're watching Looney Tunes, but it's just the anime characters that you like out of character.
Well, the thing is that like Looney Tunes also had one. I just remember they had the Looney Tunes show. But to me, it's kind of like Naruto is a good example of this to me personally because it's like Naruto is a show that has a lot of wacky silliness in it, but it's also a show that has a lot of serious stuff that happens. But it's serious when it needs to be serious, which makes the moments of levity funnier. Which is why I don't like the chibi version because it's just silliness. So it's funny, but then like a half an hour passes and you're like, well, that was good. I don't need to nor do I want to see any more of this really. Because it's the chibi stuff just exists to be funny and I'm like, well yeah, but it's kind of hollow as a result.
Yeah, no,
Like
I know what you mean.
they made it like an Aoni live action movie, which I'm a lot more interested in watching. And that movie, at least according to the wiki, is not funny and it's not trying to be funny. It's a straight horror movie, and they're like, and I'm like, that sounds more interesting to me because that just sounds like more
Sounds
complete. It sounds
that
more uh structurally interesting or
that definitely sounds like a like the anime, like just the Japanese horror scene is so interesting because they take it so seriously.
yeah, I heard about that. Like Japanese horror is apparently most people think of like The Grudge. Admittedly, I don't actually
Hmm
know a lot of Japanese horror. I don't even know a lot of American horror. I
Yeah,
guess Amer-
mostly like I've only really read the Junji Ito stuff. I haven't seen that much horror, but like, well, Japanese horror. But the things I do see are always the most interesting. Like, you don't get like Western horror and Japanese horror, like the two different cultural sensibilities are. I just find it very fascinating in how they approach horror and mythology and stuff.
I mean, I was playing the Japanese inspired game Yomawari that might also just straight up actually be Japanese. I don't know. That game scared me like hardcore. Like I literally never finished it. But then I also
That's
played
oof.
Spooky's House of Jump Scares, and that game also genuinely terrifies me. And that game's, I think that game's American, isn't it? Is Spooky's
Yeah, I
American?
think so. Um, if it's not
Spooky's
American, it's some Western country.
Jump. But yeah, but even then, both those games did have one thing in common where they were very subtle.
Hmm
Like, because when I think like when most people where I'm from think about horror, they think of like slasher movies and like I'm a
Or
massive horror lightweight. I'm scared by spiders. I watched like Friday the 13th movie, and I'm like sleeping, and I'm like, oh no. And then he kills the person, and it's gory, and the eyeball juts out, and I'm like, uh,
that sounds a bit
uh.
excessive. Yeah, yeah. Western horror tends to be a lot of. I mean, I guess both Japanese and the Western tend to like to use gore, but with the West, seems to be more about how much blood there is, where or how much blood there is, or how many creative ways I can kill a person. Where Japan is far more interested in body horror, seeing like body parts twisted, shriveled up, uh,
Head spinning.
all these like different spinning, like all these different ways you can manipulate the body into gruesome positions, but like still like have the creature being alive.
Well,
I mean, that's
like
the whole thing with the Grudge too. Is like you have like this human like creature that's like you know.
I just remember the Faith games. Do you know about those? I'm like super interested in those games. Those games look like those games get horror really, really good, at least to me. But again,
Yeah, I
I'm a
actually haven't
massive
heard
lightweight. They're
what
like
are the what are those games? Tell me about them.
they're like these they're Atari style, like early Atari style, like horror games. You're like this priest guy who has to like finish like the first. There's Faith Chapter 1, then there's Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 is coming out, which is an interesting parallel to the Moon. But yeah, you're this priest who's like kind of struggling with his faith, and he has to like kind of like push back these like demons to seemingly to save people. But there's like a lot of like internal stuff that's going on, and a lot of like kind of questions on what you're doing, and if you're like maybe you're crazy and stuff, and it kind of it's all really murky. So it's already not a simple premise because you're trying to it's already not a very simple premise because you're trying to exorcise a demon, but just the deeper the rabbit hole goes, the more you find like just the more insanity kind of ensues. And it's and but what I really like is that it's never really overt, but except like in very specific times when it plays it up really good. Like when it wants to be shocking, it's shocking.
Sometimes like I find like Japanese and Asian horror is just sometimes the most unsettling, but maybe that's more so because I've just become so desensitized to Western horror. A lot of Western horror is at its best when it's not like when it's leaving it up to your imagination and not showing. But um, there's always this like feeling that like with Western horror it's like you have to come up with like the most crazy looking, weird looking monster, but then you spend the entire movie um like building up this monster and they show it and it's like, well, it would have been scary if you just didn't show the monster in the first place.
Yeah, I remember my dad and I were
Eh,
watching. Oh, I'm sorry, I brought up Aoni because we were supposed to be talking about games, but I'm
yeah,
gonna get
well,
back to
it's
that.
because but it's like the
Yeah.
Japanese can actually come up with really creepy monsters where I think creepy does it much better than trying to make something scary.
Actually, can I
I don't
just make
know.
a before I okay? I'm gonna finish my talk of movies, and I'm gonna move back to my funny thing about Aoni. Then I'm gonna move back to why I brought up Aoni in the first place. So, think
Okay.
about American horror movies and stuff. My dad and I were watching this one movie about these explorers who went like super deep underwater, and my dad was really interested in the movie because it was framed like a documentary. So it's like they're talking to the cameras. They have a bunch of cameras, so it's like a documentary, and then you don't see the monster for like the whole movie, and it's like picking them off one by one and stuff, and both of us were like really interested. But then at the end when it does just like you said, like when it reveals the monster,
Yeah.
both of us were like immediately like what? Like oh, and it was really really
Well,
dumb.
it's classic mystery box. I feel like the like over here in the West, like we have people who can create really good mystery boxes, like well, really interesting mystery boxes. But when you actually open up the box to see what the mystery is, it's not interesting at all. There are so many bad twists, like over here in the West,
Mhm.
where sometimes the twist doesn't need to be this big scary monster. It just needs to be the concept itself is scary. Like
Yeah.
I get the feeling that a lot of horror directors don't actually understand what makes scary things scary, or like
Well,
because when it
part of the intrigue of horror that I feel like a lot of people don't get is that not knowing things is a massive like is a massive strength of horror stuff. It's like
well yeah
not
because
knowing what
it's
this monster is, not knowing where it came from, not knowing how to stop it. It's like answers are, sometimes you ask questions and you get answers, but knowing everything makes things way less scary.
oh yeah well and well on top of that that's part of the point. The thing about horror is it's all about um it's all about feeding off of our anxieties and like that's what like for example like with zombies, what makes zombies scary is that what if you were the one in that position where you were the living like that, you have all these people that you recognize as once human, maybe people you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like you could easily become one of them if they bite you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that empathy like you put yourself in the situation, you're like, oh, what would you do in this situation, what if like there's this empathy that creates this horror. and that's where a lot of like these like monster like some of the greatest monster horror stuff is uh based off of like humans changing, humans transforming, things that look human but aren't or were once human. And when it comes to the types of movies where like you got the like the Blair Witch Project, like something like the Blair Witch Project was one of those documentary movies. It's known as one of the like great scary like horror movies, but you never see the witch in the entire movie. And if you saw the witch, it would probably ruin most of the movie because
Yeah, because then
the
people would
scary
make
part.
Rule 34 of it.
No, but
Then it'd be scary for
the
a
scary
different reason.
the scary part of those movies are is the not knowing, and once you know, unless if you have something that's completely awful or completely not what the person expected, like well, not expected in the sense of like if it's not actually a monster or it's not something completely stupid. um
I remember
that's sort of the thing with
Bionicles
like
did the horror pretty good for that really really old game that's impossible to play now.
yeah, well,
Where
this was sort of the
like
thing with like the Saw movies. It's like well, I guess in general the other thing with horror movies is that in a lot of these documentary movies where you see the monster at the end, it's such a overdone entire trope where like you really need something special as the monster at the end. It can't just be ooga booga monster scary. Like either show the monster at the beginning, or it has to be something more than just the monster. It has to be pulled back and relate to the story or whatever, or make sense. But with like with Saw, it's like most people say like the only good Saw movie is the first Saw movie because like afterwards it starts getting ridiculous. I mean, it becomes more about the deaths than it does the actual story of the plot, and it recycles the
yeah,
same twists.
it's like a
But
death is
the
a
first
means to
Saw,
an end. It's not just an end. You can't just have
yeah,
like slashing and stuff because otherwise you might as well have Jason X where you like puts the two
yeah.
people into sleeping bags and then
But
bashes them into each other.
the point of the Jason movies and the slasher movies isn't the horror. It's the ridiculousness of them. You don't go to watch Jason or Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, or whatnot. Same thing with Saw. Is you don't watch them because they're scary movies. Saw is, the reason why Saw is scary is because you can put yourself in those positions and put yourself in those games. But things like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, they're so surreal that it's not really that scary, and you're almost more so watching it for the people to die rather than to to be scared.
Mm.
But that's part of the thing with these horror movies is that I think a lot of these horror movies don't know if they want to be a slasher schlock movie or if they want to be a properly scary movie. You know?
I uh I also like Bloodborne. That's a very scary game.
Yeah, well, Bloodborne's great. I haven't played it, but I heard it's great.
You've heard it's great from my incredibly from me, your incredibly biased co-host, that says
Yes,
everyone should go out and play Bloodborne.
I believe it.
Well, yeah, not everyone. Some people just don't. I think some people wouldn't like it very much, and it depends. Anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to like suddenly U-turn like massive hardcore,
Oh,
but
no,
like
that's fine. I definitely think we've hit the end of this topic. Let's move on to something
getting
else.
back to Aoni, I brought
Yeah,
it up in the first place because we were talking about RPG Maker games. And
yeah,
Aoni
woo!
is an RPG Maker horror game, so it still technically counts. We didn't go completely off topic, just mostly. And I was
Just
saying that
mostly.
those games, those game RPG, Aoni was a game. At first, I thought it was aping at Japanese horror, but then I found out it's authentically Japanese. It's made in Japan by a Japanese person.
Yeah.
I also
Mm-hmm.
found out from Aoni that it's a real school uniform to have crazy striped pants. I thought that was something that Shin Megami Tensei If made up. I know I brought up Shin Megami Tensei again, but I remember their uniforms had these crazy blue stripes on it, and I thought that looks ridiculous. And then I looked stuff up, and I was like, "Oh, wait, that's a real like uniform pattern." It's so gaudy. Anyways, yeah, and then he made Aoni, and then did really really well because PewDiePie and Markiplier played it, and then they made a bunch of fan games of him, and they used a bunch of the same assets and a bunch of people they took the Oni and they gave them a bunch of different colors, and they made this ridiculously long expanded universe that branched through all kinds of complete nonsense. And I brought this up.
That sounds like a ride.
I brought this up for two reasons. The first reason is because I think they're all really, really silly. But the second reason is because I also think they're very admirable, even the really bad ones. Because I mentioned, I downloaded a bunch of RPG Maker systems and I'm working on like a bunch of solo projects. It's very easy to start an RPG Maker project, even a small scale one. It's really quite difficult to finish one. It's like I look at a lot of these projects and a lot of them, because I watch a lot of YouTubers who play a lot of Oni fan. Well, I don't watch a lot of. I watch one specifically. I watched one specific YouTuber who got really popular playing a bunch of these fan games. But it's like a lot of these fan games don't look very good. A lot of these fan games don't understand tone. They don't understand, like they're way too silly, or they have map design that, or flag design, or like events that don't properly play out and can very easily soft lock you and stuff. And a lot of these games aren't very good, but I still think it's really, I'm still very like impressed that they were made at all. And I'm very like that sounds very condescending, but I really do mean that. It's like it's hard to make a game in RPG Maker, especially if you're only using, well, not especially, but like whether you make your own assets or only using pre-made assets. Like it's very hard. It's very time consuming. It's very difficult to like work out a story. And even if you have a story that's so bad that you yourself make fun of it in your own game, then it's like I still gotta like just give you a round of applause for sticking through with it to the end, because I can tell you I've scrapped so many projects just because I thought they were stupid, and then years pass and I'm like, God damn it, I could have been done now if I was still working on that.
I mean, I could say the same thing about Ace Attorney fan games.
Ace Attorney trial makers on like AAO and stuff.
Yeah,
Or
like
just in general.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause there's quite a few projects that I'd want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's just not like, for example, there was one that I started working on not too long ago, and I really like the idea. I still want to do it, but there is absolutely no way that I'm gonna have time to finish it.
Is it Turnabout 2?
What?
Is it Turnabout 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, I wish. That's the only game that needs to. That is the only game that needs to exist. Like, don't get me wrong, but like Turnabout. Actually, Sonic and I did like consider doing that once, but we both agreed that like, it was mainly him, but I agree with him overall. But like, it just wouldn't be a good idea to try to capture the magic. It just wouldn't be as funny.
I swear, if you make
or
that
dumb
game
or
and then make me play it, I will force you to play Royal, just as revenge.
Yeah.
So just remember that when you think about making Turnabout 2 Electric Boogaloo. I will make you pay for it.
I'll be real with you. I would make Lunch play it, not you.
Oh, well, Lunch would not threaten you, so that's a much safer bet.
Yeah.
But you know what Lunch would do?
What?
Genuinely enjoy it, which is absolutely why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
We need more misery and sadness in this world. Have you missed our talk about horror movies? Everyone should be depressed all the time.
You know what? Lunch posted in the Bros chat yesterday that he was he needed some good vibes, and I agreed with him. Like, I sent him a bunch of pictures and videos of sloths, and you know what? He thanked me. Then I sent him a comic of like, did I show that one to you? Or it was Mr. Krabs in labor.
Goodbye, Troy. This episode's over.
No. You know what? I showed it to Lunch. I showed it to Tar. You are not getting out of this.
No, I'm getting out of
Uh,
this. You have already been driving me crazy with your tweets. I'm not. I'm leaving.
what tweets?
The,
What tweets?
you've been sending. I've been like trying to avoid Persona 5 shit for so long, and you just keep sending me everything Atlas ever sends.
No, that wasn't even Atlas. That was fucking like the Persona 5 tweets I was sending you was from a parody account.
You were sending
Like
me release dates about stuff.
that was a parody account. I mean,
That so
what
there
release
so
date?
the so Royal isn't actually coming out on that
Oh
date,
no!
and the sale isn't really happening.
No, never mind. Those are real things. Never mind.
And those
I thought you were
new
talking.
features.
Sir, I miss. Oh no, those were all real.
Oh no, I'm not looking at this. Goodbye, Trey. Goodbye.
No,
I'm
Dizzy,
not-
no.
Nameless editor, put up these comics for everyone to watch, but make them completely pixelated so
that's
no one can see them.
the funny thing is that means Dizzy would have to look at them to put them in.
No, we got a new editor. His name is John.
Oh
wait, I'm getting a phone call. Oh, it's from John. He says he quits.
Oh, great! Damn it! I shouldn't have posted those images.
Everyone wave goodbye to John.
I should have known. God damn it!
But guys, what if John was actually DSY from the future?
What if John was me?
That was my second guess. What if John was the purple guy from FNAF? And that's why he killed those people and made the cursed Freddy suits. It's because he had to look at this comic. It all makes sense now.
I'll be honest, I am not caught up on my game theory lore on like theories for FNAF.
A video came up in my recommendeds that I thought was a game theory because they made their thumbnail look like game theory. But then I found out it wasn't. Like, I didn't click on the video because I don't watch game theory. But then I noticed while I was scrolling through shit because I was bored that it wasn't a real game theory video. And I was like, is it really that easy to just ape their style? Or am I just not paying enough attention? Or is it both? I don't know. I don't know what I think about Matt Pat. I used to hate on him just because it was popular, and now I just kind of don't care what he does.
I mean, to be fair, his performance in
A Heist with Markiplier. We never did our Heist with Markiplier episode.
Yeah, we need to. Why didn't we do that today?
Because
let's hop into a heist. Yeah, let's hop into a heist with Markiplier right now.
Well, I need to hop off for a minute because I drank a ton of water and then we started abruptly.
Okay. Go to the restroom. We'll pick up on a heist with Markiplier.
No, I meant that. So, I don't know what else you do with water. I don't know what else could be possibly interpreted from what I said. Honestly, I was trying to leave it vague, but that was very specific.
That sounds like classic Dizzy.
There you go. All right, good. Welcome back. Cut out the entire thing that I just said right now about all the avocados and the Chinese and the Mexicans and the Koreans, but not the Egyptians. I want that part to stay in. They deserve to hear the truth.
What'd you say about shiny Pokemon?
Why is that my default humor? I apologize to the citizens of the entire planet.
Don't worry, I'll cut it out.
Except for Californians. They suck. You deserve it.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
The punchline is that I live in California.
What'd you say?
The punchline is that the Game Grumps live in California. And so does Markiplier.
Yeah,
Let's steal his heart from his chest.
Anyways, we were going to talk about a heist with Markiplier.
Yeah, you know what a heist with Markiplier reminds me of?
What?
Persona 5, because both stories involve teams of thieves that don't steal anything.
Yeah, no, bad Dizzy, bad. No.
I know, you're right. I shouldn't be spoiling a heist with Markiplier.
No, a heist with Markiplier.
Actually, that's not true. They steal stuff in Heist with Markiplier.
Yeah, a heist with Markiplier reminds me of a date with Markiplier.
Isn't it because it was the same basic idea of you interacting with Mark and then having choices on what you do that influence the rest of the story? It's literally like a spiritual sequel.
I know what you mean.
we might even find out that it's a direct sequel in the fourth installment of the series. Because A Heist was the third. Because first it was Who Killed Markiplier, then it was A Date with Markiplier, and now it's A Heist with Markiplier, isn't it? Or did the date come
Yeah.
before the death?
I don't. No, I forget exactly. Markiplier's canon is not the easiest thing to follow. He's had to explain it himself many a times.
Markiplier also has a bunch of fan-made RPG Maker games made of him, and I gotta say the same thing about those that I say about the ONE games, which is I may think they're all really stupid, but goddamn if you guys didn't put your all into it, and
I
that
mean,
is
there's
absolutely admirable.
they're stupid, but yet they're all incredibly charming.
Okay,
Like
let's put it
it's
another way. They're stupid, but they're not dumb.
yeah. I,
They're
I just
goofy, they're ridiculous, they're just like Mark himself. So
yeah.
and they're
Well, they're
also
perfect, and that
complete.
but that's also why watching Mark play his fan made RPG games like is like some of the most like wholesome material
Yeah,
because I think
it's very it's wholesome. Yeah, it's exactly like that.
like watching him interact with what his fans like see of him and his lore and his like all of his memes and whatnot and seeing all this love that his fans give back to him and he gives back like you can watch a lot of people play like fan made RPG Maker games about them, but there's something different about watching Mark's because he genuinely like he's able to show
It's
those
pretty
genuine
rude to say
feelings
that
of
about all the other YouTubers. All those other guys
oh
hate their fans, but not Mark. I'm
well
like,
no no
I
no
think they like their
well
fans
it's
too.
well no it's not a matter of them liking or not. I'm sure they all appreciate. It's the way that Mark shows it. Like Mark is what like is able to show such genuine. I think that's one of the show's charming things about Mark is like he's dumb, he's charming, he's like incredibly genuine,
The Markiplier
and
expanded universe.
like it's like Markiplier is like for some reason like I, it might just be him, but like he's got like this very like precious, wholesome vibe to him that he'd make a great cult leader if you know what I mean.
Is that a compliment? I'm not actually sure. That sounds kind of
Uh,
spooky. We're
and
getting into
before
horror games again.
and before a cult with Markiplier.
A cult with Markiplier. No, it's a double entendre. It's a cult
Yeah,
with Markiplier, like spooky stuff. But then in one of the
yeah,
endings, Mark like takes off his robe and he's like, "That's right, brother. Welcome to the cult of Markiplier." And he has like a ceremonial knife and he's like gonna kill you. But then Wade comes in. He's like, "Hey, Mark, we ran out of fruit punch." And he's like, "Wait, get out of here. We're performing the sacred ritual." Wait, but like
yeah.
Wade's not wearing any robes or anything. He's just totally normal. He's like looking around, like, "What are you guys doing in my garage?"
Well, it's a
He's like, "Get out of here,
yeah,
go, Wade."
yeah. But then there's an alternate ending of that where it's instead of Wade, it's Bob.
Apparently, A Heist with Markiplier made reference to some running feud between
Yeah,
Mark and Wade about who
yeah,
made a joke.
yeah.
I didn't know
There,
anything.
there was like there was like I think like there was like inside joke from like their when they played on prop hunts back in the day.
I don't know.
But
I just know that apparently Wade made it, or at least so I'm told. Wade made a joke, and then Mark made the joke, and then they had an argument about who made it first. About like, it was me all along. I guess was the punchline or something, or
yeah,
and then
yeah, that was from the prop hunt.
yeah, and I don't maybe the video exists, so I guess it'd be really easy for someone to like just go back and watch it, but then the mystery would be gone.
Yeah. Um, I'll say this: my like I love Heist Markiplier through and through. I think there's very few things wrong with it. But my one glaring only real criticism is episode 6 show like having the credits and showing like basically things from every single route of the game and spoiling things that you would have otherwise been surprised about.
Was that the one with the teleporty? I don't want to give too many specifics, but is that the one where
Yeah.
you start teleporting?
No, it wasn't that one. I'm fine with that one because it doesn't give any context of that. I'm talking about the one with what's her the Pastriano girl, um,
Uh,
the the one I'm trying to remember
is this
the
the one where
she tried
you with the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I know.
Like
What
it
you're
was
talking
ending
about now.
6. It had like it played the credits theme. Like it was basically the end because you closed like the loop. Like
Ending 6 is
like
the end. Shouldn't ending 31 be the end? Mark
yeah,
Edward Fishbach,
yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah. Like that was the weird thing about that. It was like ending 6 was like the like like you ended the like you basically ended like all the diverging timelines, like and brought everything back to like the start, so nothing happened. But also
Wait,
in the credits scene of that, like it played the credits for the whole thing. It played a musical, like it played a song that was from another part of the thing, which if you didn't know was coming or you didn't know the song, it's like this great like like the song that plays in the game like in there I don't want to be free is like a great song, and it kind of just comes out of nowhere when you come to it, but yet playing that in the credits, seeing like all the other cameos you wouldn't have seen yet, and like I think it's one thing to say that like the Matt Pat makes a cameo in there. It's a whole other thing to spoil like what his cameo is, or the context or his performance, because Matt Pat gives a great performance, and when he pops up, it's like he steals the show. But
uh, uh,
seeing what it is,
someone
like
said
seeing what
like
it is and how he does it is like you want to be like surprised.
Matt Pat doesn't know what he's talking about, but goddamn, does he know how to talk?
Yeah. Well, how do you think he's been able to like get big on these theories? It's not off uh the content. It's not the content of the theories. Anybody can make a theory video. It's his charisma, it is his ability to act and his charm that due to his acting
Uh,
background.
that was just me taking an unfair pot shot at Matt Pat. I feel bad for Matt Pat, honestly. If we ever met in real
I
life
know.
and he asked me why I'm such a dick to him, I would not actually have an answer. I'd be like, because I never thought you'd meet me and call me out in person.
I
He's
like I it's like I completely understand I am the bad person in this relationship.
like, don't get me wrong, Matt. I'm a dick. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have the high
Well,
ground.
I mean, if he's watched a single episode of Bros in a Landfill when you're on, you like he should have known that you're a dick.
Dicks
Oh
or
man, one of these
asses.
days, what if one of these days Matt Pat makes a theory about Bros in a Landfill?
Bros in a landfill. Dark DSY never left.
What if Dark Dizzy is actually the ghost of Ralphie the Rat possessing Dizzy?
But Ralphie isn't dead. He's right here. Hey everybody,
No,
Ralphie
no.
the Rat came back. Yeah.
Get away!
Ralphie the Rat
Damn
isn't
it!
dead. He lives in my attic, and I'm trying to get him out. He
I
won't
almost thought you
leave.
were about to say he lives in your ass.
God no. I
Um,
would. Well, I mean, something's got to be up there. Have you seen my behavior?
oh man, there's a rat up your ass. Oh fuck, that's horrible.
That's.
Anyways,
I'm like cringing from the mental image of that. Like, oh,
yeah,
let's move on.
yeah.
Heist with Markiplier.
We were already demonetized.
I was gonna ask you about this.
We're already demonetized. Might as well go full throttle.
Don't give me any specifics, but I was gonna say I didn't follow the mystery to the end, where you're supposed to like find all the clues and stuff. Which is funny.
It just takes you to gag reel.
Does it take you to Unus Annus?
Dude, Unus fucking Annus. Oh my god, that's like the best thing Markiplier has done this year. Oh my god, I love Unus Annus.
I'm very confused about Unus Annus because Mark keeps like talking it up, but also it's not like a private channel at all. It shows up in my recommendeds. Like I thought
Well,
you
yeah,
had
well,
to
it's
like.
not.
I thought it was like a secret thing, but it's not secret. It's incredibly
Well,
public.
no. No, the point isn't that it's secret. The point is that it only lasts a year. So, like a year from when they started the channel, they're gonna delete the channel.
I'm sorry to tell you this, Mark, but you have so many fans. Someone is gonna archive it. It's not
Oh yeah.
gonna be gone.
I think they addressed that, and they're like, the point of the being is the channel's only gonna last a year. They're only gonna make content for a year, and you only have a year to subscribe and comment and do whatever with that channel.
Yep.
And
But
it's got
the videos will last forever, even if you try to take them down, because some crazy bastard will probably stick them on Pornhub.
yeah. I think we've all we've all realized that, but it's fun because like since Markiplier and Ethan don't have like any like attachment to the channel, like they're doing some of the like some incredibly like experimental, edgy stuff on there.
Just to find out
Like
where the limit is, because that actually sounds pretty interesting. If they're like,
yeah, like
how far can we go before YouTube gets mad? Because
it's like
YouTube, no one knows
like
the answer to that. So
well, one of the more recent ones, like they did an escape room, but it was like an incredibly edgy, like dark escape room with like murder and like and stuff, and like they're being idiots in there.
was it
And
better or
then
worse than the movie Escape Room? The
I would
2019
say,
remake.
well, I would say probably better because it's not as long, has a like doesn't like blow it at the end. Uh, the sets in Escape Room are much better, but I'd say like we didn't get like with the like what are you gonna expect from like a privately run thing as opposed to like this
Did
movie with
okay.
the best things in Escape Room were this was the sets. So
Did
I think that's the one
Markiplier
thing it's got.
did Mark at any point reference the microwave?
No.
Damn it, that was my favorite Markiplier skit, and he
Oh
he
man,
never brought it back ever again.
that's lame. But they like they also like with Unus Annus they also like try to summon a demon like in Ethan's house. They
What? Of course, it's in Ethan's house.
of course
Come on,
of course
Mark.
like they did cupping like the glass cupping on the like on each other's backs.
I don't know what that is, and I don't think I want to know.
It's a therapy. It's like you like these like you have like these glass like cup bowl things that you put on like someone's back, and then you vacuum the air out so that it pulls the skin and muscles, so that like
Oh,
it's supposed to be
okay.
relaxing.
I definitely didn't want to know that.
Yeah.
It sounds
There was
horrible.
one where Ethan shows Markiplier the infamous two girls one cup video, and Dizzy's gone.
No.
That this gag works great in an audio only podcast. Um, there is a
I'm gonna add in a sound effect so that you know that I left.
okay.
I may have
There is
logged
this
out, but Mario has logged in.
there's a video called Ethan gets kicked in the balls at the end, and it's just at the
isn't that
time.
like a book? Isn't there like a book called like Kevin dies at the end or something?
No, there's a movie called John Dies at the end.
John dies at the end.
I only know this because it was on Netflix, and I spent too many hours scrolling through Netflix trying to find movies that I didn't end up watching.
Was it a
I
good
never
movie?
watched it.
Oh.
I just scrolled by it.
The only thing I know about it is what Yahtzee Croshaw has told me about it, which is when he referenced the movie, a friend of him asked him if John actually dies at the end. Yahtzee said, "Well, duh, that's what the movie's called." So apparently,
Yeah.
you gotta wonder though. I mean, you can't blame the guy like with a name like so overt. It's like, well, is it true? What if the death is metaphorical? It might be actually. I don't know. Yahtzee wasn't very specific.
Yeah, but like Unus Annus is just such an interesting channel because I think it's giving like Mark and Ethan an outlet to do like crazy things they otherwise couldn't do on YouTube.
Okay, actually, you know what? Let's just drop this entire episode right now and start Bros in a Landfill Unus Annus.
Brunus Braunus. Oh, like land. I don't know.
We'll call it Unus Annus Light, and Mark will get really really mad at us, and we'll be like, no, it's
Yeah.
cool because we're the diet version, because we don't have the guts to do most of the stuff that you guys are doing, nor do we have the the capacity for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
no,
gonna
I would
find
just
out
simply
what
say,
happens when you stick a VR headset on your face for 24 hours watching nothing but My Hero Academia. The result,
mean-
you get an eye strain.
I mean, the first video on the Unus Annus website channel outside of their channel trailer is the two of them cooking with sex toys.
Okay, now I'm gonna leave for real.
Yeah, I think we've hit the worst. We've hit the top. There's no going back. Death is inevitable, and the death of this episode will soon come. We can't escape it.
Fly me to the moon so I
Unus
don't
Annus.
have to be on this planet anymore.
You know what? We started talking about a game about death, and now we're ending this talking about death. So I think we've come full circle.
It all came full circle. The circle of pain and not wanting to talk about things.
Not wanting to talk about the thumbnail to the bad kind of cupping video.
Bros in a Landfill episode 70. Don't watch this episode.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might die.
Fly Me to the Moon made of cheese, which is dead.
This has been Bros in a Landfill. Dying off.
Dying off is that a new catchphrase?
Yeah. I mean,
Ralphie the rat's coming back.
Death
Everybody.
is inevitable. Life. Everyone's life will eventually perish and
Ralphie will never
fade
die.
out.
What?
If you've gotten to this point, don't subscribe to Bros in a Landfill. Don't comment. Don't like the video. Instead, go watch Unus Annus instead. It's much better content. Markiplier deserves all of your love because he's such a sweetheart. See it. Don't
to join the cult of Ralphie.
Don't see us next week. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Goodbye.
Please behave yourself.
Signing off.